Beatty, since he's been called up, he's been going off. Even since Brett Beatty got sent down to AAA just a few weeks ago, he was starting to hit. And that's nice to see because, Mark Vientos' defense is terrible. We need to see him as the full-time DH. I do not want to see him at third base with his glove. He is a terrible defender at third base, which sucks. And it's also shocking to see because you would think he would take a step forward defensively. We're not asking him to be an elite Gold Glove defender. We're just asking him to be an average defender with his bat because he has been swinging the bat pretty well over his past 25 games. He's hitting over 300. But we look at Brett Beatty's stats over this recent stretch. Let's take a look at his last 20 games. Pretty good. Really good, actually. Brett Beatty's hitting 278. He's got 15 hits in his last 20 games, 5 home runs, 13 RBIs. He scored 20 times in those last 20 games. And you look at his OPS. His OPS is off the charts. He has an OPS of he has a 908 OPS in his last 20 games. I talked about it a lot. I didn't want to give up on Brett Beatty. It was very hard for me to give up on Brett Beatty because I know the player that he can be. I know the hitter he is. He's a good hitter. When he started off this year, he was getting behind in the count a lot. He was trying to be patient with his pitches. And it seems like a lot of these Mets players outside of Brandon Nimmo have been really trying to be patient, try to get their pitch. Brett Beatty, he's not that guy. He's a guy in the AAA who kind of jumped. He jumped on the pitcher early in the count. And that's what he's doing now. He's jumping on them early. Even against Garrett Crochet, he jumped on him early. He didn't allow him to get 2 strikes. So that was clutch by Brett Beatty. So am I saying Brett Beatty is going to be an all-star level player for the Mets? No, but I am saying that I do think that Brett Beatty can be an impact player for this 2025 team. And maybe even going forward. Who knows? He was the number 1 prospect in the Mets system, even when Mark Vientos was a prospect. So I'm not giving up on Brett Beatty. I'm not giving up on Brett Beatty, and he keeps giving us reasons why to not give up on him, especially, like I said, over his last 20 games. He has a 908 OPS, 278 batting average, 5 home runs. He scored 20 times in those 20 games. He's got over 10 RBIs in those 20 games, and that's hitting in the bottom of the order. And we all know the Mets are, basically they're shit with runners in scoring position. That's the best way to put it. But Brett Beatty tonight, he came up clutch with runners in scoring position. All right, you look at Tyler McGill. Tyler McGill had 10 strikeouts. He really needed a big outing. 10 strikeouts and 4.2 innings. Only 1 walk, which was nice to see. He lowered his ERA to a 3.56. Only 4 hits allowed against this Boston Red Sox lineup. I look at this series overall, and the biggest takeaway I have is our bullpen was great. Our bullpen didn't give up a single run. I don't think in any of these games. They didn't give up a single run in any of these games. Last night, they didn't give up a single run. In game 1, it was Kodai Senga who gave up 3 runs, but that was it. Clay Holmes was masterful yesterday. He only gave up 2 runs, 2 bad pitches, really. The bullpen didn't give up a single run against this Red Sox lineup, so that was really nice to see. Red Sox only 25-26 now. Mets 30-20. Only a game back of the Phillies. So, sucks, but like I said, it's only May, so I'm not worried about being a game back in the NL East. We're still one of the best teams record-wise in the MLB. And even Brandon Nimmo said it. I know a lot of Mets fans are kind of feeling down on this team right now because the lineup hasn't really been swinging the bat well. But a lot of teams, almost every team, all 30 teams in the MLB, they go through this at some point. The Mets, unfortunately, they're going through it right now. After a very, high start to the season, they're now kind of hitting that rough patch. So this is where we really find out who the Mets are. If the Mets can come out of this and, get going again, then I think we can really finally see what this team is made of, especially this weekend. We have Dodgers for a 3-game set starting on Friday. So it's going to be really interesting to see. If we take 2 out of 3 from this Dodgers team, I think we will really find out what the Mets are made of. Luckily, after the Dodgers series, we faced the White Sox, we faced the Rockies, and then the Dodgers again. But after the Dodgers, it's Rockies, Nationals, Rays. So we get a little bit of a light schedule now after we face the Dodgers in this first 3-game set. But it's gonna be fun to see, who this Mets team really is. Who are they? All right, I want to talk about Juan Soto because that's the big one. Juan Soto has been getting a lot of crap recently. Oh, we misses the Yankees is what everybody's saying. He doesn't look comfortable. I think there's a really simple way to put it. Juan Soto does not like grounding out into double plays. He doesn't. I don't think anybody does. So I'm not shocked to see Juan Soto, kind of feel down on himself. I'm not shocked to see Juan Soto looking uncomfortable. Why? Because he's not hitting. Juan Soto's hitting 243 this year. That's not Juan Soto like at all. If anybody else in the MLB besides Juan Soto was hitting 243 with 8 homers at this point, with a 374 on base percentage and a 429 slugging percentage, OPS above 800, we'd be saying they're having a pretty good start to the season, but it's Juan Soto. He's coming off, an offseason where he signed the biggest contract in not just MLB, but in professional sports. I mean, 15 years, $765 million. Not only was it the Met fan that had expectations, but it was a Yankee fan. It was the Dodgers fans. It was the Nationals fans. It was every single MLB fan. Everybody was watching Juan Soto since the start of the season. And so far, he hasn't hit great. I don't think it's him missing the Yankees. I don't think it's him feeling uncomfortable. I think it's just Juan Soto's in a slump right now. That's it. This contract isn't a bust when today's date is now May 22nd. It's not a bust. Even if he does struggle throughout the year, we still have another 14 years left. I mean, I look at 2021 very recently. I mean, it happens with a lot of players. Roger Clemens struggled his first year with the Yankees. A-Rod even had a little bit of a subpar year when he was with the Yankees in his first year. You look at Francisco Lindor in 2021. I mean, everybody hated these guys. Carlos Beltran, even in his first year, he had an OPS well below 800. So what I'm saying is we can feel down about Juan Soto, but we shouldn't just give up on Juan Soto. Like, if you don't think Juan Soto is a great player when he's only 26 years old, he hasn't hit the prime years of his career just yet. And he's slumping right now, and that sucks. Don't get me wrong. It sucks. I am disappointed in Juan Soto, but I am not worried. We are 30-20. Like I said, I will find out who this Mets team is this weekend with the 3-game set against the LA Dodgers at Citi Field. And if we win 2 out of 3 games and the Mets, if the Mets win 2 out of 3 games and Juan Soto struggles in that series, I'm still not going to be worried about Juan Soto. Will I be disappointed? 100%. But the simple fact is, the reason everybody is on Juan Soto shit right now is because he's not hitting the baseball. And if he was hitting the baseball, everybody, the whole entire narrative would be different. We wouldn't see these clickbait stories saying Juan Soto wanted to be a Yankee, and then the only reason he's a Met is because his mom wanted him to be a Met. She wanted all the clothes that came with signing with the Mets. She wanted the suites that Steve Cohen was offering. Like, if Juan Soto was hidden, these clickbait stories wouldn't be out. Everybody's taking advantage for it. And I'm a member of the media. I write for Fansided. I know. These are clickbait stories. The media's job is to generate clicks. It's to generate viewership. And that's what they're doing right now with Juan Soto. They're taking advantage of Juan Soto slumping with his new team, with the New York Mets, after signing a 15-year, $765 million contract. That's what's going on right now. Juan Soto isn't regretting his decision. Juan Soto doesn't hate his teammates. Juan Soto isn't taking his private jet. He's on the team plane. Jeff Passan, a reputable reporter, probably the only last reputable baseball reporter today. He even said he's not taking his private jet. Everybody's just making shit up. That's what's going on right now. If you're worried about Juan Soto, basically what I'm saying is don't be. Can you be disappointed in him? 100%. I'm disappointed in Juan Soto. But he doesn't miss the Yankees. He doesn't regret his decision. He doesn't hate Francisco Lindor and Pete Alonso and Brandon Nimmo. Nah. It's all for the clicks. The old tagline used to be Knicks for clicks. In 2025, on May 22nd, it is Juan Soto for clicks. That's all it is. I do want to touch on Pete Alonso. He's been cold as of late. Pete Alonso did go 1 for 5 today. He's been sneakily getting hits here and there. I mean, even in the first game of the series against the Red Sox, he went 1 for 3. But he's not being the player that he was in March and April, and even early May. And that's the biggest problem with the Mets right now is you have Lindor slumping, you have Alonso slumping, and you have Soto slumping. Lindor did have a good game today. He went 2 for 5, a clutch home run to give the Mets some insurance that they didn't really need, but it was still clutch to kind of, stomp the Red Sox out, kind of put them out of it. So it was clutch in that sense. But Lindor, Alonso, and Soto haven't been hitting, and that's really the biggest reason why the Mets haven't been doing too well as of late. That's the reason the Mets haven't been scoring runs as of late. That's why they're 5-5 in their last 10 games right now. It's because their top 3 guys, their 3 all-stars, are not playing like all-stars. That's really all it is. That's really all there is to it. Pitching has still been great. Bullpen has still been great. Huascar Brazoban has been phenomenal this year. He went 2.1 innings today. He got the win, got 4 strikeouts in those 2.1 innings. He's now lowered his ERA on the year to a .90. I mean, Brazoban has been fantastic. He's only given up 3 earned runs. Only 3 earned runs in 30 innings pitched this year. You got to give a lot of credit to Brazoban this year, a guy who we didn't even think was going to be on the roster heading into 2025. And now he turns it around and he's been dominant. Reed Garrett, I mean, say what you want about Reed Garrett. He had an up and down year last year, but he's been fantastic too. He's only given up 2 earned runs now across 19 innings of work so far. He's lowered his ERA today to a .95 ERA. And Edwin Diaz has been amazing. Like Edwin Diaz, I'm not saying he's his 2022 self, but Edwin Diaz looks like one of the best closers in baseball right now. He has yet to blow a save. Another great performance tonight. What didn't get credited with a save because it was a 4-run lead, but he goes out there, he allows a walk, gets a strikeout, and gets a clean inning. Now his ERA on the year was a 2.84. I mean, Edwin Diaz, he's given up 6 earned runs now across 19 innings, but also those runs come in bunches. Like he's only had 5 games where he's allowed a run this year. Only 5 games where he's allowed a run this year. And he's pitched in 19 games. Edwin Diaz has been perfect in save opportunities. He's been perfect almost every time in the 9th inning. So this bullpen has been fantastic. That's another major takeaway from this series. Even against the Yankees, I mean, Ryan Stanek kind of that sucked. Daniel Nunez, that sucked. But outside of those guys, I mean, Edwin Diaz has been fantastic. Reed Garrett has been fantastic. Huascar Brazoban has been fantastic. The entire starting rotation, I mean, Tyler McGill was really the only one that hit a little bit of a rough patch so far this year. Everybody else, Clay Holmes has been great. Kodai Senga, I think, pitched his best game against the Red Sox in game one of the series. He let up 3 earned runs in the first inning, and then he gives you 5 shutdown innings after that, and he goes 6 innings. Like that was exactly what the Mets needed, especially after they taxed the shit out of their bullpen in that Subway series against the Yankees. So we really needed 6 innings out of Senga at the very least, and he gave you that even after having a terrible first inning. Clay Holmes made 2 bad pitches last night, and it sucked that he didn't get a win last night because he pitched great. He's been pitching great all year. I mean, you look at Clay Holmes' numbers now on the year. I mean, Clay Holmes, you can say he's been the better pickup from the Yankees than Juan Soto has so far. Clay Holmes 5-3 right now through 10 games, a 3.13 ERA. If I told anybody that Clay Holmes would have a 3.13 ERA through 10 games, they would take that and run with it. This guy wasn't supposed to be a starter. He's a reliever. He sucked with the Yankees last year. Clay Holmes is a very good pitcher. In fact, Keith on Shane Sons even said it, which is a very good Mets podcast. If you like the Mets so much and you want to listen to more Mets contact, make sure you go check out Shane Sons. They get a lot of stuff going on. Key and Keith over there. But Keith is he's very high on Clay Holmes, and I see exactly why. He probably has the best stuff in this Mets rotation, and that's including the bullpen. He might not be, used to going out there and pitching 6, 7 innings every night, but he's getting there. And I think he does have the best stuff. I got to agree with him there. I mean, his kick change is phenomenal. His sinker is phenomenal. So I got to give it to him there. Clay Holmes has been a pleasant, not even surprise, but I would say, a pleasant pickup, a sleeper pickup, probably the biggest sleeper out of all pitching pickups this year. Because Max Fried's not a sleeper. Max Fried, he was an ace before the Yankees signed him. I'm talking sleeper pick. So I'll give that to Clay Holmes. All right. Let's talk. I got to flip the hat. I'm sick of wearing it backwards. Let's talk about these Yankees. Let's talk about these freaking New York Yankees. Jason Dominguez erasing Jacob deGrom's masterful start. deGrom, in his return to New York, dominated the Yankees through 7 innings of work. Let's take a look at his final line tonight, just so I have the exact numbers. Yeah, deGrom goes